Hey, what is up? Again, this is Warren, that's Aaron, and this is Movie Talk. And we're doing it again, this time talking about, was it Project Power? That Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie. I got some thoughts, but I don't know. I'm still excited. Thomas is still allowing us to post this on the Quest and Chaos YouTube page. No one's asking for it. It's more content saturating the market that you didn't need, but we're going to be making these videos because we make them for us. You're going to see these videos on YouTube until the day Jesus calls you home. No one can stop us. We're going to keep doing it.
Not even
That's
Thomas.
my energy 2021.
We fight back 2021.
Hell yeah.
If there's someone trying to not allow us to talk about movies, we're going to fight back. I think
we're spreading the poison that started at the game table to the internet. Everyone's like, no, shut up. We got shit to do. We got to focus on this. We don't want to hear you talk about dog shit. Of which Project Power is not. It's not high art, but it's pretty entertaining.
But it's not dog shit either, so that's good.
It's not. No, I definitely want to make that distinction. It is not dog shit. But while I was like watching it, we on our houses, we've got flood insurance, fire insurance. You think in like Metropolis or Gotham, they've got superhero insurance, right? Like Superman uses the car that you're still making payments on to crush a bad guy, and you're like, oh god.
I knew I shouldn't have parked there.
Yeah. Like the scene from Hancock. He's like, why couldn't you just lift the car over your head?
Yeah. Actually, that made me think of another thing, too. They didn't make that joke in Hancock, but he rams the train to save the kid. Just pick up the kid. Pick up the kid and fly away with the kid.
Yeah, that's what they were saying.
Destroy a train. Oh, wait. Oh, that
pick
was
up
what
the
he said.
car. That was Hancock. It's like, I could smell that. Hancock had so much potential to be thrown away with a shitty ending. Have you seen it?
I have, actually. I think in my family, I was the only one that truly enjoyed it for what it was trying to accomplish. You know what I mean?
It tried.
I think it's a great satire at like a hero who's just, a guy who doesn't really care that much about wanting to be the Superman archetype or something like that.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Or have to push into it,
I look like I care what people think.
It's a great story. A disgruntled superhero that's like he's basically Superman, the only one of his kind on this planet. Everyone knows him for, he's infamous for just being a shitty human being, right? There's that meme on the internet. It's like this muscle guy walks into the bar and slaps your girlfriend on the ass. What do you do about it? Like, that guy's Hancock. That guy's literally Hancock. One of the first scenes in the movie, he's drunk and this like lady walks by and he just gives her a pat on the ass. Literally Hancock. But yeah,
not
like
a role model, but definitely a great movie.
Dude, any superhero, any ability that you gain, do you make yourself known, or do you sort of hover in the darkness and sort of, get by with your friends and family and try to help them as best you can?
If you have Superman powers, like on that level, I feel like anybody, or Hancock powers now, I feel like anybody is just going to let that be known. They're like, hey, I am the strongest dude in the planet. So
you can't protect your loved ones, though.
It didn't seem like Hancock had many, though.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're this complete loner, I mean, honestly, if you're on this planet and alien, you're basically a god. You're the only one of your kind. I'm subjugating the fuck out of all of you, right? On your knees, maggot. Like, I am the superior being, right? You have your pick of the litter with women, right? I'm sure they all want your offspring.
That's an interesting thing. Actually, okay, I don't want to spoil Project Powers. I mean, I'm sure anyone's seen it at this point, with it being so like readily available on Netflix. But I like that we Hancock and Project Power do fall into like not a comic book actually based story, but they do something interesting with like the superpower medium, that type of genre. So
Project Power was a little campy. Not that's the wrong word to put it, but it was definitely very action movie. Um, and even though Hancock was supposed to be that, I took it a little bit serious until the end. You know, I with Project Power, I was just like, oh, okay, come on, yeah, I see where this is going, but it was still entertaining to watch.
Yeah,
With Hancock, I was like, what is he? Why doesn't he just? You know, I just had so many questions.
I would agree with that, because you do at a certain point go like, all right, this is their goal. I guess they're gonna achieve that goal, and there really isn't anything that deters them from it. Non-spoiler review of that of the story, but yeah, there really it's not that hard, other than like what you would assume. You know, some people use the pills to be the obstacles in their way, but the ending is pretty. I don't know. I rewatched it for this when you brought it up, because I forgot how it ended. Like, I didn't remember,
Oh,
so I had to figure out. And once I realized the ending, yeah, it's very campy. It's a little too happy-go-lucky of an ending. It's a
yeah,
loose word.
the story has this is just like most of these movies, a million plot holes to shoot through, but you just kind of want to suspend belief to like make it to, you know, just to kind of like hang on an edge of following the narrative as if you kind of care. I was a little bit more invested in this film than I thought I would be. But for those of you who don't know, brief synopsis of it is basically there are these pills that are manufactured using animal cells to give you a random inert power in your genes. Very Marvel, right? Like you have this in you, it just hasn't been pulled out, and these pills will pull it out of you.
If there was a pill
Hungry for that money, I'm coming to devour.
that could give you 5 minutes,
Spit it so they get it. I'm embedded.
The thing is, you don't the first time you use it, it can kill you, right? You don't know what your power is, you don't know how to control it. There are some scenes. The one scene I'm thinking about is where the gunfight happens underground. Shout out to Casey Neistat, who makes a fucking cameo appearance in this thing. The
I
gunfight
okay.
happens.
Oh,
The
I love
gunfight
that he's
happens
in it.
underground. This one guy thinks he's about to be a badass. He pops a pill and he explodes. You have no
And
idea
there's
what your
such a
power is.
the direction in
And
this movie is very.
I love that part. I'm sorry, Aaron. Go ahead.
No. That part's amazing. Like really sells it as like the directing around all of it, because there's so many good scenes from Project Power to think about that
100%.
were mainly
Yep.
just visual, but they're really good fight scenes. Like the first one where he's
Yeah.
fighting the flame dude, Jamie Foxx. That's so good. It looked like real fire on that person, but then I could still see particle effects, but I couldn't tell that they were like After Effects particle effects or something.
The rubber fight on the
Whoa.
ship where they fought the guy who had the elasticity power.
Oh yeah, and he kicked his leg in, and then it bounced back.
He tried to choke him backwards.
That one was funny because it didn't really require any special effects. I think that was just like a gymnast, like a really
Plaster.
like, because I've seen people on BART basically do the like double jointed shows. And it looked pretty accurate.
The
Like,
contortionist.
that was a
they
talent
kill it.
board. Yeah,
Shout out to Bart.
to BART. Thank you for your shows every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m.
We are diving into this film, but let's take a step back. This is actually pretty good that we're sort of talking about it already. But if you haven't seen it, stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is the hero, anti-hero. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays cop, trying to, NOLA beat cop who just stumbles on this fucking thing. Takes place in New Orleans. Yeah, well, so they say. He's the straight cop in a crooked world, I guess.
Yeah.
But the thing, actually, you know what? Let's what's new, Aaron? What's new? It's been a while. We're getting used to this is the first one after coming back from holiday, so we're kind of out of it. But what's new?
This is a good way to start the year with another crossover movie series franchise. And I've been seeing a ton of stuff on the new Godzilla versus King Kong movie. I've been seeing a lot of those trailers and scenes, and I heard there's not really a news. I'm just going to toss a theory at you when I pulled from Reddit. and it was what if in this movie, and the one coming up, where it's Godzilla fighting King Kong, but he only earns the king title to King Kong because he beats Godzilla. Because the last one was named Godzilla,
Kong.
King of the Monsters.
Oh,
Now it's just
really?
Godzilla. Yeah, that was the last one. It didn't really break the box office from what I remember, but what if that happened? And can you believe that King Kong, would your money be on King Kong versus Godzilla in that fight, even though they boosted his size? They're kind of supposed to.
So I did see Godzilla in the movie theater. I liked it. Just kind of world scale disaster. Did not crack my top 5 apocalypse movies. And then Kong Island with John C. Reilly. Always a pleasure to watch him. But I didn't notice that about the titles, and it makes sense. Did you just spoil the whole thing? Watching the trailer, I assume that they would coexist, right? Because in the trailer, Godzilla versus Kong, it's coming out later this year. It's like there was this global scale war of these super beasts, and Kong and Godzilla are the 2 remaining ones, and now they're going to finally meet to see who is the alpha. So I would assume, yeah, that makes sense, especially if like Godzilla King of the Monsters. But just Godzilla's powers, Kong is just brute force, and Godzilla has so many like unknown powers that I just, even in that, I give reptiles, there's always these movies or these like hypothetical battles, like a grizzly bear versus an anaconda, or a lion versus a hippo or something, and I
We've
always
seen
give the edge
plastic
to
animals
reptiles. Yeah, because reptiles don't have that fear, or that they're just driven
raw
off of instinct. Yeah, whereas mammals and primates and stuff, like he can faculty and reason and stuff, and if he's like, I can't win this, he's gonna dip out.
I've seen highlights from Kong, like the most recent one with John C. Reilly. Kong Skull Island. I did not fully see that one. I did see Godzilla before that, but not Godzilla King of Monsters. Anyway, but I think I would like to see them write a clever scenario for Kong to use the world or the rubble around him to bring down Godzilla. Because yeah, I think you're right. If we put like a monkey and a Komodo dragon in a ring, I don't think that monkey is gonna find a way other than just straight up trying to beat the crap out of it.
Smash it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then the Komodo dragon has poison, so like one snap and that monkey is dead. You add a wolf and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and this is Rampage, right? This is the narrative for Rampage. The thing that I always think about is, I don't know which Godzilla movie it is, but when Godzilla holds the guy's mouth open and basically vomits the God ray into it, that was amazing. That was amazing.
I don't. If you're Kong,
yeah, if you're Kong, how do you? I don't know how you combat that. Yeah, like what do you? Yeah, the Hulk can only do so much.
Because that feels like a safe bet. If I'm Godzilla, it worked the last time.
I'm just lead with that.
Next creature, yeah,
yeah. Exactly.
The movie's like, oh my god, it's like an hour and a half of nothing, and then just that. It's just lasered down the throat for Kong.
Well, because that movie is so heavily CGI, it doesn't get hit with COVID-related pushbacks. Like the Uncharted movie is pushed back again. Well, I don't know again, but it's been pushed back to July 2022.
Are you serious?
Yeah, as has the new James Bond been pushed back.
I mean, why would you lie about it? But yes.
Just to get the clicks, man. Just to get the clicks. There's nobody watching.
Is there a new actor? Is there a new actor in the new James Bond, or is it still?
So it's still Daniel Craig, but I think they're gonna pass the torch on this one to the black actress who is lined up to be the new 007. I don't know her name, unfortunately, but I think that's what's going in, because the last one they had sort of like a stay out of my way, old man, sort of rivalry.
I sworn I remember seeing that in the trailer, in the most recent one. But I have not followed that series closely. My only question is, would you have preferred the new actress because I could have sworn there was a trailer for that. The new actress, or I kept hearing rumors about Idris Elba being the replacement for James Bond, like they just started from scratch. And I've been very happy about that. That dude's good
I
in so many roles.
I think he would be. I think it would be a departure because he would just change the style up of Bond so much. But I think it would be entertaining as fuck to watch. I think he'd be a good Bond. I think Daniel Craig is James Bond. But I think Idris Elba's depiction of Bond would be like, I don't know. It'd be like
He's very intense.
a
Like,
Nolan
he's
Batman.
yeah. Oh, okay. Like, but would it also be like when Bale is just like kind of drunk as Nolan Batman? You know, he's like, all right, I don't care, get out of my house. I'm a party
So
boy.
it'd be. Here's the thing, right? Because Bond is like the perfect gray man. He can mix. He's not out of place in a trap house. He's not really out of place in a high end art auction. Idris Elba, on the other hand, stands out in certain environments, right? He's not, he's on the train looking for somebody, and it's like, oh, do you guys see a guy pass through? A 6'4" black guy. Like, yo, yeah, that guy just came past. He's not, he's not sneaking behind the scene.
Looking past the pole a little.
So yeah, even outside that though, man, I would have loved to see Idris Elba as Bond, and I do remember that pitch. Not that pitch, but I do remember the inertia behind it online, and I do remember a lot of the pushback for that departure, basically based on colorism, which isn't an issue to me because he's a fictional character. He's whoever you want him to be.
And as long as it works, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't be like the visual portrayal of it. You know what I mean? It should just work. Like, I kind of get a little bothered, like a pet peeve, when I hear about like Miles Morales and he's like a combo of a bunch of different races. When it's like, I mean, I don't know why. I feel like they were just trying. I feel like that was their guilt checking in, and they were like, we got to combine a bunch of different races into Miles Morales so we can even out. And we're like, no, just make more diverse heroes. I took a turn.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. The idea that a character needs to, you definitely are going to be able to look back at this period of time and like stamp it diversity, right? Like you can see the explosion of creativity in casting, in the stories that are told, and it's such a departure from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Just even the narratives that are being crafted. I don't have the words for it, but like it's on the tip of my tongue. Like this is a launching point that you're going to be able to track back to at a certain point in time. And my furnitures came on.
I can't.
There's going to be a lot here for the guy to edit out.
Just clean this up, and we love you. But I think, yeah, I guess I get impatient because I'm like, no, these most studios should be even more daring. But if it's each stepping stone is getting there, then it's I guess I'm just getting impatient. Well, because at least they're trying to hand it off in James Bond. Like, it feels like it's not just a harsh reboot from what I previously heard. So it's good to see it. They're at least like trying to work their way there. You know what I mean? Like but again, he is a fictional character. So
it would make sense and not disrupt the ecosystem too much. It disrupt the ecosystem. If he not handed it off, but if she assume the mantle of the next 007 versus each of these Bonds are inside their own universe, siloed, and they never cross. Like Pierce Bronson, Daniel Craig never references Pierce Brosnan or Sean Connery or any of that shit. So they just like start off as if they've been this person the entire time. So coming out of left field with a person of color and a female character would be like, what? That might fuck with you. But again, it's a completely fictional character. Do what you want with it. And if it doesn't work, like you've tried.
New Batman. Black Batman.
Who weren't they? I saw something online that Michael B. Jordan was like being considered for Superman or some shit?
What?
Did I just dream
That's
that? I'm totally not. I
online. I've
saw that
seen it.
somewhere on the internet and I've retained it. I didn't make that up.
It's in a pocket somewhere, and we'll find it. I've only
Yeah.
heard. I thought you were going to bring up like that. There's an actual new Batman, but he is actually black. And I can't remember. Like there was like some other guy took up the mantle now, and that's what's going on. But I'm curious how that would play out. He's very charismatic, so I feel like that would be funner for me to watch rather than what's his name? Which he's the Witcher now. I like him.
Yeah.
So roided out. Henry Cavill. I feel like Michael B. Jordan would have way more fun with being like a Superman, kind of like kind of. I like the campiness, so I feel like he would ham it up a little. I like it.
The internet would go nuts. Are you kidding me? People would hate it so much. I can see the tweets right now. The internet's an awful place.
They aren't thinking it is, but they aren't thinking far enough ahead. Think of how awesome that would be if if it just works. If it just works, it works. You know,
at least with the assumed mantle stuff, like like they did with the Watchmen on the Doomsday Clock, right? The original Rorschach is dead. The new Rorschach sort of like assumes the identity of the old Rorschach because they all wore masks. You can kind of play with that idea in your head with the old Val Kilmer to George Clooney Batmans, but like it at a certain point, it just stops.
Okay, last thing, it'd be funny to think George Clooney handed off the mantle to Christian Bale. Like two drastically different tones of film. You know what I mean? Like going from Batman and Robin to Dark Knight.
One of the things I love about Ben Affleck's Batman is the voice modulator. Christian Bale, how did he think this was a good idea? Like that's...
I'm not against it until I get to Dark Knight Rises. And then I hear, where is it? Oh.
It's that is the cringiest part to me of the entire Nolan universe Batman is his voice. I'm just shit, I can't turn it off, man. Oh god.
I was distracted by his lips more. Have you seen him when he does it? Like he's like
he's got the biggest porthole.
Yeah.
Batman's mouth has always been a structural integrity flaw in terms of like an impervious suit. That in his eyes. And I'm just like, you're walking around a city where literally Deadshot and Deathstroke live, right? They pick you up from a mile away, literally a mile away, through a fucking penny-sized hole.
They all hate you. You just don't sleep.
Shit, man. So scrounging through the depths of the internet, I came onto sort of like a creepy but weird story. Are you familiar with Jerry Lewis? The old black and white actor, the original Nutty Professor, white dude. Oh God, oh lady, oh hey. No.
I didn't watch it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
so he really prolific comedic actor, but also did this sort of drama that he filmed in color in the 40s so I hear that's really heavy and deep. And essentially I was reading that this film is, I think, in the Library of Congress, set to be released in 2024 is when he had dictated that this film should be released. And it's the story of a clown. It's called When the Clown Smiled or something like that, or the Day the Clown Cried or some it's something like that. He plays a clown who's down on his luck. And then in the backdrop of World War II, he's not Jewish, but he gets picked up by German officers. And he's in jail across from this concentration camp. And he sees kids inside the concentration camp. So he goes back to his old vocation to make them laugh. Come to find out, TLDR, he becomes a comfort for the kids, but essentially knowing where the kids are going to wind up in these chambers eventually, he insists on joining them and leads them there to kind of calm them and keep their spirits up until the last moment. Really deep and heavy stuff for the 40s and this comedic actor. So he essentially becomes like the Pied Piper of these kids to their dooms. But this is his story arc that's set to be released in 2024. Look it up, the Day the Clown Cried, or the day, something like that.
That is it.
Did you just Google it? Is that what it is?
I did.
Yeah.
I did just Google it.
Um,
But that's fascinating. So it's supposed to release in 24?
2024. Yeah, that's when it was set to release. Almost like 60 years after it was made, they just like locked this film up,
Huh.
which intrigues the
You know,
fuck out of me.
yeah, especially considering the themes.
Yeah.
With clown in the title, I didn't want to. I was about to be like, I hope it's not a Joker movie. But-
Can you
but-
imagine Jerry Lewis as the Jerry Lewis as the Joker? That'd be fucking amazing,
Right.
actually.
I only know because you said hello, lady. Like that's
Hey,
the only
lady.
reason that clicks in my mind.
My mom told me when he became the Nutty Professor and he became suave, my mom told me she had a crush on him. I remember that story. All right, I didn't want to know about that. That's cool.
It went from Urkel to Stefan Urkel.
Basically, that's the story that was stolen. So,
Oh my god.
yeah. So
Family Matters ripped it off.
these are my movie news. I don't know if you have any other additional movie news to discuss.
I have
What's
not
going on?
looked into much. I have.
What are you watching?
Yeah, that's a better question. I got into a recent series on Netflix called "The History of Cursing" or "The History of Swearing."
I want to see that with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage. You can tell from the first second, like that in the first episode, that these people demanded that Nicolas Cage be a part of this documentary. It's informative, but mainly funny. They just want him to shout the history, get you drawn into the episode, and he just screams. He just screams the curse words or he screams it at the audience or calmly recites it at the audience. I love Nicolas Cage when he's crazy because I just love it in a movie where he knows what to do and he knows how to like gauge how crazy to be or what direction to throw it in, because there's a lot of good movies where he's thrown that, or I don't think Ghost Rider is good, but it's that scene of him transforming is one example of just like how his craziness really adds to something.
Works.
And for that mini series, it was hilarious. I wouldn't have stayed and watched if it wasn't for Nicolas Cage. And they knew that.
He's his own, absolutely. He's somebody that you can book and be like, he's his own pop culture draw. I've also been watching a lot of I watched the Night Stalker series on Richie Ramirez. I watched Bridgerton through proxy. I was basically working and it was on in the background. It's essentially just like softcore porn for the aristocratically, colonially inclined.
Wait a minute. You just said it was on in the background.
It was. No, so
Don't do that, man.
no, so yeah, exactly. I watched it via proxy because I was sitting in the living room doing work, and like it seemed like every half hour I would hear sex moaning from the other room, and I'd look over like, what the fuck are you guys watching? Like Bridgerton has another sex scene. Like we get the point. These people are intimate. Like for fuck's sake, what the
You're
hell?
developing character.
Yeah, right? It seemed overdone. I'm watching a lot of Nexium, the cult, the sex cult thing. Just finished that. With Keith Raniere and all that. That's on Stars. They had this whole thing about this cult. Anyway, I'm at a crossroads now with like movies and stuff because honestly, in order to do a movie right, you kind of have to release it in a few series parts, right? You can't shove anything into 2.5 hours anymore and expect to tell a full story. Mini series movie, like I still prefer the one-off of a movie so I can disconnect and digest or like just throw it away if I'm not happy with it, versus like the idea of needing to invest my time into something. But like it seems like things that used to be movies now are just becoming miniseries, which is great, so you can tell the complete story. But I don't know how I feel about I'm on the fence, right? I wanted that, but now that I see it happening more regularly, I'm like, shit, this is a bit too much.
I'm okay with it because I completely agree. It feels like when it comes to film, especially more recently, is that it's really hard to make even at the, I guess mainly blockbusters, even at the peak, like because even Predator. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. But it feels like it's really hard to tell that concise story without any plot holes in that 2 hour window. And a lot of movies I just feel like are not getting as well received because of it. And the ones that are like independent films that are like so obscure that they really do turn off a mainstream audience, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's harder. And to watch those independent films, I really set a day aside for them, because I'm like, I don't want to passively watch something that feels like it requires your full attention. But like for a blockbuster like Wonder Woman 2, it probably didn't require my full attention for me to get it.
These one-off movies are going to find a home in VR. I just finished watching a narrative called The Great Sea, which is a short Philip K. Dick book that they turned into an animated VR immersive movie experience. Basically, you have your scenes and your shots, but like I'm sitting behind like a car, or like I'm perched on top of something watching this all unfold, and the transitions aren't jarring or anything, but like I'm completely immersed in this environment. I've given my attention to it fully for this short period of time, knowing that it's not going to be more than 10 minutes. The nerve of Quibi to think that they could do something like this. The fucking nerve of these guys. But
I love how Quibi ended up.
good, fuck them, good. But I feel like making movies, traditional movies, is going to be like using cursive or script. Like, oh sweet, you were able to do that in 2 hours. That's cool, man.
Yeah,
Like a
totally.
miniseries is just where things are now. Like movies, I don't know, movies are miniseries now, which the reason I brought that up, I'm ranting, is because I'm like, well, maybe we should expand what we cover here in our 9-episode show.
I'm down with that. You know, maybe, you know, movie talk, TV talk, video game talk. There's a lot of things I can say about game talk. Oh, okay.
Whatever we do, the name is, I'm not changing the name. You know how hard it is to fucking change assets. I'm not doing that. It's whether we talk about sports or fucking video games, the name at the marquee is gonna say movie talk.
I'm not into sports at all, and we should just talk about sports.
Dude. Yeah.
And
Favorite
movie
sport
talk.
movies for sure. I drove across country and recently, and just sort of went through some towns that I like seen in films, and one of my favorite sports films called Unnecessary Roughness of the Texas Armadillos, North Texas. Fucking great film with the guy who played the Quantum Leap dude. I fucking can't remember his name. Yeah, as the star quarterback. You know who's in that too? Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider plays a fucking sports announcer. Dude, he is in everything. We have to cover his career. We have to cover his career.
Okay, I do, because I want to talk about Real Rob with someone. Have you seen that? That's his thing on Netflix. He has a show.
What?
Did you know that? He has a show on Netflix, and it's like this mockumentary kind of thing called Real Rob. And it's just him and his wife, and he's living his day-to-day. But the first episode is him like shitting on a dude for not making his coffee right in a Starbucks. And I'm like, I don't relate. I can't continue, Rob. I'm sorry. But dissecting his career and how he got up to that point, we gotta talk about that. Quantum Leap guy?
Like, Rob Schneider is so storied, and he's been in so many movies, and people know him, and he's been on SNL, and he's been on Seinfeld and stuff. He's one of those celebrities who I wouldn't take any shit off of. Are you kidding me? Who the fuck are you talking to, Rob Schneider?
Just dump the coffee.
Make your own fucking coffee. Yeah. Get out of my store. Fuck off.
Afford a coffee press at home with Adam Sandler's money.
The Keurig or anything, man. Get out of my store. We had no intention of doing anything productive today. So if you're tuning in and listening, this is the way of it. But
we don't have to.
No movie quotes, no auditioning lines. But Aaron, in 2021, I'm starting a new segment called Let's Make a Movie. Let's make a film. What do we want to make, a popular film or an art house film? What do you want to do?
Popular film.
Popular film. Okay, popular. Do you want to make an action film, a scary film, a teen film, a comedy, a thriller? What would you want to do?
I want to make a horror film.
fucking hate that genre. Okay.
Me too. My thought process is I want to make it good, because a lot of the time it's like the plot holes are too in my face, and when they aren't for once, like in Forget Out, when the plot holes aren't in my face, they blend perfectly with the world and the story. I'm like, that's a good horror movie. I felt fear
All right.
because I was sucked in, not because I don't know, Jason is alive again.
So we're gonna make a pop, like a mainstream box office horror film based on realistic horror. So no monsters, right? We're gonna make
No.
basically we're gonna create a nightmare scenario. What's that scenario? What would compel people? Is it something political? Did the riots and Capitol Hill succeed in a coordinated attack? And now
Well,
we're in a fascist state.
What then? We're
No,
just
too
ripping
much.
off the.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
I think.
What's
What
the
if?
realistic horror stakes? Go ahead.
Nope, I was about to say The Purge again. It's a Hunger Games, but they surprise you with it. Something everyone fears: spiders.
No. It's got to be a serial killer. Let's make it a serial killer. A
Yeah,
serial
that's real.
killer who you trust. A doctor, a dentist,
A veterinarian,
a veterinarian.
because
Uh,
people love animals, and if they see something happen to an animal, they will not only feel empathy for it, but they will also be, I imagine, afraid why this person feels compelled to do this to this animal or animals.
so is the dude, you're way too, you're thinking too much about what is going on here.
I think I
Is
mean
is the veterinarian the villain, or is the vet the savior?
no, the villain. Like, you bring your dog into me, and I'll take care of your dog, and then we need you to stay overnight so I can take care of your dog. That's not how it goes at vets. What if the Quantum Leap guy? Now I'm just pulling shit out of my ass.
It's sci-fi. Nope. I'm overruling you. I am the studio head, Aaron. That's fucking lunch table bullshit. Don't bring me any shitty ideas like that. This is what we're going to do, okay? We're going to use our resource. We're going to make a horror film, a realistic horror film about a doctor, a story doctor who graduated top of their class, is an amazing surgeon. But you let his political ideology determine whether or not he kills somebody on the operating table.
Yeah. What if he's the best in the country? Like he's the one known for coming in to fix the surgeries or the procedures that need him above all else.
He's got to have too high a mortality rate to be the best in the country. He's got to do risky surgeries. Oh, yeah. He's got to be the person you call when you're on your last legs, and he can save you. But as he learns more about you and your life, he determines whether or not he wants to execute you on the operating room table, and he's in charge of the scalpel and all the critical equipment. The shot opens with him flatlining somebody, and you learn about them and their, shitty ideological stance, or just, you learn about their popular stance, right? And the doctor is like a fringe lunatic in his spare time.
I'd like to think like only one patient gets ticked off to that, because the question that he's asking are very odd.
So the doctor, I assume, is going to be a male, and the protagonist is going to be a female?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're getting somewhere.
A fit, handsome dude as the doctor, where it's like,
well,
it's like Dexter,
I think it's got to be an older guy. It's got to be an older guy. Who would you cast in that? Older male, any race you could have. Who would you cast?
What's his name? I love the voice actor, or not the voice actor. I love the actor who played he was the kid in Clockwork Orange, but I can't. But now he's a really old man.
Matt McDermott. Yes. I think he would be great casting. And you know what? He's on his way out. We can afford him. Let's sign him up. Let's get him signed. So
get him quick.
He's gonna pull it. It's gonna do like a Clint Eastwood thing, right? He's gonna pull in that older crowd. Like McDermott still got it, So we need somebody younger-ish. Is it gonna be a mom with stakes? You know what? McDermott is a bigot. It's got to be a mom with an interracial family who has some social, has a lot of progressive beliefs.
Yes.
Who is
Not
that?
a,
Who is that?
uh,
Who's that woman?
I could have sworn the younger woman from 50 Shades of Grey, bear with me,
Okay.
acted in something before she did that, and she was really good in it, but I can't remember what. I feel like she would be a
There's too
good
much.
unassuming.
No, I don't want anybody associated with that film. We got too much money riding on this thing. Next.
Who would be that?
I feel like this is a Sandra Bullock film, but this is not her moment in time. Yeah.
I don't believe her when she's afraid. Like, I loved Gravity, but not for her. She did a decent job, but she wasn't my favorite part of that movie. Dude, most of that movie, if you just listen to it, is puffing and panting. Like,
Well, I was
oh my,
just thinking, if we can't get McDermott, Clooney's our doctor.
I won't take that seriously. I didn't take Clooney seriously in that movie. He was just George Clooney. He was like, hey, how's it going? You know,
You seen
like,
Clooney from Dusk Till Dawn? He can fucking flip the switch, man.
I gotta watch that. No, I
He
haven't.
can
I've
be
seen him in person.
and he was in Grey's Anatomy, wasn't he? He knows how to play a doctor.
He was? Oh, I did not watch
He
that.
was in
That's
some doctor
funny.
film, yeah, or a show.
He started as some doctor in a comedy at some point. I hadn't heard about that.
Clooney's our second casting if McDermott's unavailable. We still need a female.
The woman from Insecure. Have you seen that show on HBO?
Issa Rae?
Yeah, like the lead actress.
Oh shit. I've
think
only
she
seen
has
her
a
in
good-
comedy.
Well,
but-
she even I didn't get past season 1 in Insecure. I just forgot to pick it up again, but I loved her performance because she has such a good execution at subtleties. She's really good at showing you how she's subtly like, all right, like very upset or not upset, but like
Yeah.
I mean, in the show Insecure about something. So
She can
she's really good at that.
She can emote social cues really well, which is what it's going to need because it's going to be a lot of tense moments. It's not going to be maybe a few jump scares, but it's going to be a drama of her realizing that like something's not right. Like the dude from Get Out being like, "What the fuck is this?" Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So Issa Rae is our first choice.
okay.
I feel like she might be out of our budget, but like I'm all right to give her a call, see if she wants to read for this. Okay, so now we need a minor player, right? Either a journalist who follows this doctor or a concerned husband or some peripheral character who you're hoping to be the audience looking through this lens of like is just so close to figuring it out and then meets a tragic end.
Oh, okay. I know what you're saying. I want to. I'm just for no particular reason. Edward Norton. I just feel like he when he's trying to just figure something out. From what I've seen, he's like, he gets into it. He's pretty. I believe him as an inquisitive character that tries to decipher something and then is pretty much unable to stop his own demise.
He's an amazing actor, and he will kill whatever role we put into. One, he might cost too much, and two, he's notorious for changing the fucking script. He just shreds apart scripts. Now, I'm not saying that. I should say this. We're gonna do this. Let's do this scene instead. Like I don't want that on my set. But if he, if I have to spank his little bottom to get him in line, he's our first. Let's keep him as an alternate. But what's the role? What's the role? Is it a journalist? Is it a husband figure? Is it a partner? It could be another female. Is it a friend? Is it the child? Is it a child? Are there any?
I think a journalist really doesn't have a purpose to keep antagonizing a doctor on.
It's the doctor's assistant.
Okay, that catches on and that eventually loses it.
That catches him making really somebody so storied. They catch him making like generic mistakes, and they're like, "This doesn't add up." So somebody sharp and smart, who has an accident right before Issa Rae's surgery.
This should be like his newest hire too. Like he keeps losing assistants. Not that they keep finding out, but that he's just like eventually turns on the assistant.
He has to cycle assistants through because otherwise they'd be on to him. Okay, who is this person? Got to be younger side.
has to be young, kind of new to the biz, but with like a demeanor that kind of says like, I can figure stuff out.
I like Keith Stanfield if we're on the Get Out train.
Let me look. Who?
Sorry to bother you.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that dude is great. He is. I would believe him, and I would like him to be in like a male nurse role because you don't see that a lot in movies. Like I haven't seen that much.
Or not even
I like
a male nurse, but like the doctors have to do 7 years of like apprenticeship or like shit before they're licensed. So maybe that's his role, right? He got assigned to this. He's not really what the guy sought out because the guy has these views and keeps him at arm's length. All right. So we've got our 3 stars, right? I can see the picture frame already, right? The poster art. What do we call this? What's the title of this horror movie?
It's got to be
Deep
something
cuts.
that gets you. Yeah, deep cuts. Shots fired. That's what I kind of think of though with deep cuts, like the. Let me think.
All right. We're gonna call it. We're gonna go back and forth. You say a word, I say a word, you say a word, I say a word. Go.
Scalpel.
Slips.
In.
Slowly. The scalpel slips in slowly. Coming to theaters in 2023.
In a summer near you or something. Directed by who?
Starring. Oh, that's a good one. Who? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Who is it directed by? That is very big.
Who do you trust?
I am going to me.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan. Yep.
I'm hesitant at that.
Yep. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
I also knew you were going to say that, but I'm hesitant at that. That's like a 50-50 toss up. If I'm the producer and I'm like, sure. I'm like, it could be Lady in the Water. It could be The Village.
No. It's going to be fucking Unbreakable.
It could be After Earth though.
He knows how to do. You know what? I'm gonna give this to M. Night. Who do you have on deck? If you can't give an acceptable person, M. Night is doing this.
Mainly because of Get Out, but I'm going Jordan Peele because from Key and Peele alone to his film and to Us, even though Us isn't as good as Get Out in my opinion, he really does a great job at building that tension. I think that tension really grabs me with him. I'm not to say M. Night isn't really good at that too, but I think in more recent years, Jordan Peele off the top of my head.
I think actually you might be onto something because with the tension, especially with the political views of the two and the lifestyles between, and that's primarily why the doctor is picking his victims. I think Jordan Peele could add a layer to this that would terrify the shit out of black folks. While M. Night would just like terrify everybody and then throw out like a left field happy ending.
Yeah. The only downside is that it would probably, and it shouldn't, but it would probably terrify people from surgeries, from like getting medical attention.
And that's why we're making this film, right? We want to take a mundane sort of thing and, start with some really obscure stat like, 5% of people who go in for appendix surgery die or some shit like that, right? Something really, some elective yes. So I think we've got something. Lionsgate, hit us up, man. We A24, we know how to do this, dude.
And
we just wrote your next film.
And don't write it as Get Out to Get Out of Surgery. Because that's almost what if in a way.
Stop. All right. We're moving on to the main film that we're here to discuss with the time that we have left. We spent a lot of time bullshitting today, but we're going to talk about Project Power, which is essentially a superhero movie or a superpower movie starring Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and this starring this amazing young actress whose name slips my mind now, as a supporting player. She does amazing in this. This action film, superhero sort of untold action film. Is on Netflix. I
Dominique
encourage you all to watch it. What's her name?
Dominique Fishback?
That sounds about right. I'm gonna assume you're googling the right person.
Yeah, I googled.
So this essentially the story here is that these pills are being worked to perfection to the point to where they don't have those negative side effects. So they're experimenting on the New Orleans population, selling it like drugs, and monitoring the effects and the different sort of iterations and strains and superpowers that people get. As these things happen, it gets into the wrong hands and people want to sell it and make money off of it and yada yada yada, and it does damage to a lot of good people. And that's where we find ourselves. Jamie Foxx is looking for someone lost, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, because he's the cop in NOLA, he's trying to get down to the dirty business of what's going on with these pills. And Dominique, what's her name? I'm sorry.
Fishback.
Dominique Fishback.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
is she's one of the street pushers pushing this pill, this power pill, that essentially gives you a power that you have no idea about. And the powers are derived from animal DNA, so they give you some dormant animalistic sort of extra ability, whether you can go invisible like a chameleon, you get rough skin, you can get Wolverine like claws, you can control your body temperature to near freezing and near incinerating levels. Like you can get super strength, it's stretchy, super fast. You can get all of these things. Yeah, stretchy. I don't even know what to call that. Elasticity. You get
like the household cat, pretty stretchy, and that's where it comes from. I'm kidding.
When I saw those powers, I'm like, what animal's doing that, right? Like what animal stretches like that?
Especially with because I did enjoy this movie, but yeah, there's questions like that keep coming up, because later on that the explanation of how the pills work is introduced, but that's like halfway through, and earlier on you already see a dude who's like flame on, control, like burst combusting like right before you. So I was confused about that as well, like what animal is even just bursting into flames or controlling it so he can.
You also got the idea about his daughter's ability without spoiling it, but like you knew what she could do, but they never explained how she got that power. I'm like, what animal does that?
I didn't think it was. I see that. Oh, okay. I completely forgot about the animal thing. They did explain it though.
They did. They took their time to explain it. Well, so all right. So, the tension in this film is mostly made by the fight scenes and the police chases, which were great. Like this is as many holes are in this movie plot wise. It's shot. It's a high production film. Like I can't really make much issues with it. Jamie Foxx steals every scene he's in. And honestly, the combination of Jamie Foxx and, of all people, action star Joseph Gordon-Levitt, it kind of worked. I wouldn't rate this as a must-see, but like if you've got the time to put this on, this is more than a decent airplane movie. Definitely a decent sort of like chill at home date night flick.
I agree. And I also agree with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's part. I never buy him as the tough guy. Like it's been rare I've seen him in that role, but it was super funny to see him as a cop in this one. And he always, if you notice, if you look at it, yeah, and in Batman, if you listen to him, especially in Batman, he does, "Hey, I'm just a cop, just living by my job, doing my day." You know what I mean? Like he deepens his voice as he's doing it, which is kind of funny because we can all hear it. I only remember him from 300 Days of Summer first, so I'm like going back to the tough guy role.
He got to, I mean, the tough guy stuff for him, he got to, it always feels like he's like, yeah, I mean, it's his job, but it feels like he's acting in some way, because I feel like the most natural tough guy he's ever been was Looper. And even then he was pretending to be a young Bruce Willis. And I was like, damn, okay, he nailed that to the point so much I'm not distracted by how unthreatening he is.
Yeah, and the uncanny makeup. Like he did a good job if you have to make up him, but I did like him in Looper. But yeah, you're right. He's not good as a tough guy. I didn't believe it for that. He was an okay cop in this one, though. I really liked. I didn't think about it at first because his introduction in Project Power is him and Robin meet together since she's his dealer. I really liked that introduction. I think they have a lot of really fun character moments between everybody,
Yeah.
which really does keep you watching and going forward. Like there's one scene again with Robin rapping in front of Jamie Foxx's character.
Yeah.
Again, these two actors specifically, I often see as just themselves a lot of the time.
I think the movie, those lighter moments, which without them, the movie is kind of like super intense. I think that it definitely wasn't out of place, the light chuckles that you got, and basically worked it as like a reminder and a grounding of like, hey, this is just for fun, guys. Just remember, this is like an action film. Like, just everyone relax. Stakes aren't that high. Look, we got Casey Neistat in here too. Like, everyone's having fun.
Casey, get your subscribers to watch it.
Yeah, dude. So, fun fact. Sorry. A friend of mine, shout out Tori. He's a working actor in LA. He's been in a lot of commercials, a lot of Netflix stuff, is featured and also supporting.
Nice.
I remember him posting on Facebook. He was like, "Hey guys, so I'm starting my Instagram and I got to get my, followers up because his auditions in LA had started to reference what kind of following do you have?" And I was like, that is so shitty. That is absolutely, yeah. So they like are absolutely casting people for the potential pull that they could get. Not to say that Casey was bad. I don't think this was the first. I think I've seen him in something else. He absolutely played, that cameo role really well, hopping off the bike as he was more of a badass in this than Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm going to be honest. And like, it was kind of cool to see him.
You can also see, though, they definitely limited. I was waiting to hear him say stuff. They limited so much of what, I don't know if maybe that was intentional from the script, but it really, he didn't have many lines. He had like, "Whoa, what's up?" Like he had a lot of mumbling, and then he just kind of showed a gun. And one scene where I forgot it was Casey Neistat was the one right after that, where you were where it was like a bunch of these crime bosses or whatever in the underground basement or whatever.
Yep.
And they give the pill to the one woman, and she starts developing ice powers, and she's like, that's slowly falling, freezing to death. That scene is brilliant, and I actually love his reaction to it because he's kicking the door in. The time there's a frost chamber to regulate her temperature, and that scene is just one continuous shot of her suffering and freezing to death as Casey tries to break her out, and Jamie Foxx kicks everyone else's ass. It is so good.
So just to set this up for people's, mental eye. Basically, they're in this underground bunker, and they're doing a demonstration for these mob bosses how the pill works. No one knows. This girl's never taken a pill. So they put her in a center chamber in the middle of a room, basically like a glass cage, so that everyone can see what happens to her. She develops these ice powers and starts frosting the glass and playing, and everyone's like, "Hey, successful experiment. Like this thing works." During this moment, a gunfight breaks out, right? I don't want to spoil what happens, but essentially it winds up getting into a gunfight from the perspective of the girl in the cage, right? So you're following the gunfight through the frosted glass, and you can kind of make out what Jamie's doing and like the fights and the gunshots, and she's like coughing up frozen air because the bullet has cut off the regulatory temperature in the chamber. So now she's basically freezing to death, and Casey Neistat's trying to like break down this impenetrable thing on the other side to get to his girlfriend. And basically Armageddon's breaking loose in this basement. Also in that basement, definitely a spoiler, the mob boss, the female Mexican mafia mob boss, she gets away with the 2 briefcases full of pills. She goes up to the elevator, and we never see from her again. We never hear about her again. So Project Power Part 2 is like definitely potentially open if that's something they wanted to do. Because those pills are out in
Should
the
it be
wild.
I did not notice that, actually. That's awesome. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, like, as I was watching this movie, and especially as you brought up the miniseries point, it really would help this just help, flesh out the world a little more if it were a miniseries, or at least the next part was, because I really liked them. I mean, like, as much as I'm saying, like, I didn't believe Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I believed him enough, and I think I still wanted this to keep going past the movie, because how it ends is like, I guess
So the ending is definitely not really satisfied, and like one of the like these people come out of the woodwork to fight them, and you're just like, where did this person come from, where did that person come from? The stories that I want to know about are the people in the community who are using this pill for personal gain, and also like the headaches that they encounter when they use it, right? Because what is it, you only get 5 minutes before the pill wears off, and then you're back to your normal self. But like they're presumably out there committing crimes or doing good things and giving feedback to this research group. I would absolutely watch that as a miniseries if Project Power came out. Either with like, because the pills are on their way back to Latin America, either in Latin America or still in NOLA, or people trying to like engineer these pills and fucking themselves up big time, right? Because like the source is now gone.
It can go in so many different directions, and that's why I kind of feel like the movie only scratches the surface. Like, I don't like franchises popping up everywhere, but it feels like this has so much creative freedom that if you really run with it, you can do all of that. You can make it like a Breaking Bad kind of thing at the same time as making it a conflicted superhero or anti-hero story. And yeah, the same with Jamie Foxx's character, where like a hero who doesn't need those superpowers to fight, because those were just as interesting to watch him combat those superpowers. I liked it. I think to fill up a tub of water and then wait and expect them not to see the tub of water is a bit of a stretch, but I still liked what they were doing.
I like that you were still mortal when you had your powers in effect. You could still be killed. Like, you just got enhanced abilities. It didn't make you like immortal. No, I don't think he was immortal. I think he just like had toughened skin. That was his superpower.
No, not Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but there was one dude that Jamie Foxx was fighting near the end where he shot him out of the canister, and he shot him, I think, in the chest or in the head. It was a vital spot because they closed in on it. I just can't remember if it was one of the two, but he healed, and the bullet like fell out of him, and the only reason he didn't heal again is because the 5 minutes ended up. So I'm like, no, he was immortal for like 5 seconds.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. That's after the supermarket scene, right?
Yeah.
Where he first finds out about the other pills and the locations of the pills. That guy was dying when he took the pill. So his power when he took the pill, it basically healed him and ejected the bullet. So it acted as like temporary, like revitalized for full health rejuvenation, which is why after it wore off, he was like killable again. He was killable during the thing, but yeah, that's why. Basically reset your health. You took it. Like, if someone was on their deathbed and they took a pill, they'd probably be fine for 5 minutes.
Okay, I see what you're saying. So it just like paused his death for like 5 more minutes.
Well, no, he was back up and fully healed again. It like, if your HP is like 5, it brings it back up to 100%. And it resets it. It doesn't like, you don't go back to 5 after 5 minutes. You're back up at 100. Yeah.
And then I kind of felt bad for him too, like when he like was dying at the end of the 5 minutes, because he was like, no, like the beeper on his watch was just going off. So it was like, that's it, you're done, man.
Well, Jamie's bullet killed him right at the 5 minutes. That's why it seemed like. So that was where there was a lot of ambiguity with the watches and with people starting their timers. You saw people take the pill and you saw the timer, but you're like, what the fuck? So you still didn't really have an idea of like what the power and the Project Power was doing. So you made it feel like he was dead after it wore off, but really Jamie killed him basically at the end of 5 minutes.
Yeah. I liked that though. I felt like them using their, I don't know. It gave me a sense of like, oh, yep, they're fucked now. Every time I heard someone's beeper go off, and
Yeah.
maybe they mentioned, I can't remember if they mentioned it thinly, but I could have sworn they set up the idea of a time limit being there earlier on. Like there was like 5 minutes for everybody. When they set the timer, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm tracking with it. I'm there.
Basically. I still
Ah.
can't wrap my head around what Jamie's power was.
Yeah,
He
that was a
explained
MacGuffin.
it. He explained it when he was, held hostage, and it made sense that he like vaporized all the particles around him. But like I was
But,
like, how does that work?
If even if you take it as he vaporizes all the particles around him, the main character shouldn't have survived that last scene anyway.
Exactly.
Like the time he used.
Yep. Everyone should be dead.
Yeah, that's where the campiness creeps in, and it starts making it like too perfect of a world, because it should not have ended happy after that.
No, absolutely not. Well, with all of that said, what would you give this film in terms of a rating on a scale of 1 to 100?
I'm giving 82. I think 82 is fine. It's a B movie, because it's not going to stay in your memory long. Like a higher 80, I think, would stay in your mind longer. But this one, I had to remember what the ending was, and it's just like, it doesn't leave you with anything to think about. It just left you with everything's good now. Everything's good now, and I wanted more from it. I felt like they world built as much as they could, but in a mini series or something, they could have done more without it feeling excessive. And so I think they used the time as best they could in the movie itself. But I'm gonna knock it just because I wanted to see more.
Yeah, I think they were constrained again by that time, that bandwidth constraint on like duration. Again, maybe this movie would have been better served as a mini series or a Netflix series. I think I'm romanticizing it a little bit more only because of the potential for this, for the offshoot films and storylines, if they wanted to do that, even like a part 2 maybe, because of these pills are basically out distributed into the world. We have no idea how widespread these things are, or who has their hands on them, or where they are, or even like what happened before the events of this movie. And they definitely leave that open, and I liked walking away from the movie thinking about that stuff. Still with that, it's just entertaining. It's like it's a modern day 90s action movie. And for that, I don't shit on it, but I don't give it it's an 84 for me. It's got to be an 84 for me, dog. Because I think like once you get close to the 70s, you're just like, it's something that you had to sit through. And I don't, I was actively engaged watching this. I wasn't, texting or passively doing, like, I didn't feel the need to like go make a drink or something, right? I was like watching it full way through.
Because like there's a lot of good, like, if there's ever I'm trying to think of a lull in the movie other than the ending itself, which isn't like, it's not a bad ending, it's just like too perfect of an ending. And yeah, so but like the action scenes and then the character moments between like different characters really keep you invested.
You nailed that. There is no lull in this movie. There's absolutely no lull in this movie. Yeah, there's no like I can tune out. I don't know what it is. Even though I rated an 84, they do keep you compelled to keep your eyes on the screen. But it is a forgettable movie, but the concept of it is pretty clean. But with an 82 from Aaron, an 84 from me, that's our show. We're back. We're kicking the rust off this episode. The next one's up on the docket, or what? Rob Schneider and the Social Dilemma. Are we talking about that? I've come to the realization that I am addicted to social media. That's a thing.
I am as well, because now I'm like scrolling through Instagram and I'm like, oh, they're watching me. They're building my profile.
I'm so tired, but I can't look away.
There's one dude in a room scanning me. We'll get into Social Dilemma. I thought there was some funny stuff in that. But
We're gonna save that to be streamed. That's the one we're gonna talk about when we're streaming on the QNC channel, so we can get some feedback and some thoughts. I'd be interested to see what the QNC community has to say about a topic like that.
Very curious. I'm also curious, what did you think of our movie pitch segment? I liked it. He just sprung it up on me today. So I'm really curious what movies we can come up with.
Yeah, dude, you know what? The scalpel slips in slowly. I like that. Starring Matt McDermott, Issa Rae, and Lakeith Stanfield. Directed and written by M. Night Shyamalan. Oh, no. Written, directed by Jordan Peele, produced by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, don't give him a whole lot of input, but let him throw some money at it. That's
dude. I am so inspired to make this poster now. You have no fucking idea. I'm definitely gonna get on Krita or Photoshop and try to get this thing done. All right. I'm Warren, that's Aaron, and this is our outro.
Ready, fight.